Today, I'm going to illuminate a few reasons why you should read Middlemarch by George Eliot by reading two very short passages. Written in 1871, the story takes place between the years 1829 and 1832 in England, just before the Reform Act of 1832, which was a significant move in England toward more democratic ways of governing. My name is Kirk. I'm the host of Troubadour channel, creator of Troubadour.studio, and the host of the Literary Canon Club, where we read through the literary canonical works of Western literature from Homer to Ayn Rand. Now, in today's culture, there are many ways to consume stories, ways that I love. I have a film degree, by the way. I love movies, miniseries, podcast dramas, audible narrations, live theater, TikTok, and YouTube. And I often ask myself, as someone who advocates reading great literature, so what if we don't read as much as we used to? Look at all that we gain. And I think that that's correct. I have noticed I don't actually read quite as much as I used to, but I love reading and I still advocate for reading. And I come back to a few important reasons why we should read great literature. Chief among them, for me, is the flourishing and the development of a flourishing inner life. Reading great literature, particularly canonical or older works, provides a training for consciousness that is only available in great literature. Let me give you a couple of analogies to help you think about this before we hop into a reading of two short passages from Middlemarch to help illuminate some of this and hopefully encourage you to read along with me at Troubadour.studio, where I'll be running a book club for all of you of Middlemarch. One way to think about this is just like if you were to train AI, ChatGPT, or some other form of AI, Grok, for instance, only on Twitter fluff. Well, it may be more likely to hallucinate, get a lot of things wrong because it's not reading a lot of the books that have been written for thousands of years. And it might come out very ignorant. And lately we found out it might come out a little bit racist if we're not careful. The same kind of thing can happen to a human mind trained only on fluff, on TV and movies, which again, I love. So don't make this as an attack. I love that stuff. But if that's all you train it, you're missing something critical. Train AI and your mind on the greatest works of literature known to man. Another way to think about this is that just like we do not work in the fields, we do not work as hard physically for our daily bread as was done 200, 300, 100 years ago. So now we have to come up with ways to exercise our bodies in order to stay fit. I purchased a house for the mere fact that I wanted to build my own home gym because I was sick of driving into the gym every day. Those are the kinds of things we do, and gyms have popped up a lot, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, as it should be. It's very important to lift weights, to do some kind of cardio, and improve your body, especially since I'm sitting down all the time. That's what I do for most of my job, and probably your job as well. The same is true of your mind. If all you're doing is the kind of reading that is email reading, if all you're doing is watching television, movies, TikTok, those can have a lot of benefits and enjoyment, and you could experience the world and learn new things and have great new ways of entertaining yourself. But you are missing something critical here, which only literature, only deciphering black text on white paper and building something in your mind from that instructions, which is what reading is, that's the only way that it can provide you. So I'm going to give you an example of the splendor, realism, and insightfulness of one of the greatest English novels in history, Middlemarch by George Eliot. Now, early in the book, one of the characters, Dorothea, she's an orphan living with her uncle, and she's thinking fondly about a man who has come to visit her uncle. The man is joined by a friend. Now, the man is described as quiet, but precise and purposeful when he does speak. Dorothea at times becomes frustrated at her uncle, who points out how ignorant of politics she is. When the man's friend asks Dorothea a simple question about her enjoyment of horseback riding, to the friend, she is very cold and biting in her response. Here's a short passage from that scene. It's very early in the book. The friend says, "Let me hope that you will rescind that resolution about the horse, Miss Brooke," said the persevering admirer. "I assure you, riding is the most healthy of exercises." "I am aware of it," said Dorothea coldly. "I think it would do Celia good if she would take to it." "But you are such a perfect horsewoman," the man says. "Excuse me, I have had very little practice, and I should be easily thrown." "Then that is a reason for more practice. Every lady ought to be a perfect horsewoman, that she may accompany her husband." "You see how widely we differ, Sir James. I have made up my mind that I ought not to be a perfect horsewoman, and so I should never correspond to your pattern of a lady." Dorothea looked straight before her, and spoke with cold brusquerie, very much with the air of a handsome boy, an amusing contrast with the solicitous amiability of her admirer. "I should like to know your reasons for this cruel resolution. It is not possible that you should think horsemanship wrong. It is quite possible that I should think it wrong for me." "Oh, why?" said Sir James in a tender tone of remonstrance. Mr. Casaubon had come up to the table, teacup in hand, and was listening. "We must not inquire too curiously into motives," he interposed in his measured way. "Miss Brooke knows that they are apt to become feeble in the utterance. The aroma is mixed with the grosser air. We must keep the germinating grain away from the light." Dorothea colored with pleasure and looked up gratefully to the speaker. Here was a man who could understand the higher inward life, and with whom there could be some spiritual communion. Nay, who could illuminate principle with the widest knowledge, a man whose learning almost amounted to a proof of whatever he believed. As this progresses, we the readers are privy to Dorothea's emotional and intellectual preferences, worldview, and viewpoint, her inner life, her inner thoughts, her inner emotions, as well as the words she says and what she does. She is quite enamored by the man and annoyed by his friend. Her coldness to the friend is clear to us and probably to him. His amiability is equally clear. But this is not what makes Middlemarch great. As we read further, there is a scene where Dorothea is walking to meet her sister Celia, and the friend joins her. At first, she is as cold as ever. Then he brings up his desire to construct cottages on his property. Now this perks up Dorothea. Not at the property itself, since everyone here is propertied, the young man's propertied. That's not what's relevant here. But at the idea of building quaint, idyllic housing for workers on the land. See, she has big ideas on how to better England and the world. And one of them is providing charming, well-designed cottages for workers rather than the plain, simple houses she believes that this will better their lives by living in better housing. Dorothea and the friend talk about this for a short time. When they separate, Dorothea walks away thinking about cottages and morally improving the lives of her fellow men. The young friend, the young man, walks away convinced she is in love with him and will agree to marry him. In Dorothea's mind, the friend is likely to marry her sister, and Dorothea is now happy that she has found at least one subject she can discuss with her future brother-in-law. Okay, then she meets her sister Celia, where they discuss this incident. So in this scene, we have Dorothea, her sister Celia, and they're going to be talking about the friend that Dorothea does not like, James, as well as Celia's future relationship that Dorothea believes they're going to have, which is getting married. Okay, so here's what they say. This is starting with Dorothea. "Certainly he thinks of me as a future sister, that is all." Dorothea had never hinted this before, waiting from a certain shyness on such subjects, which was mutual between the sisters, until it should be introduced by some decisive event. Celia blushed, but said at once, "Pray do not make that mistake any longer, Dodo. When Tantripp was brushing my hair the other day, she said that Sir James's man knew from Mrs. Cadwallader's maid that Sir James was to marry the eldest Miss Brooke." The eldest Miss Brooke, by the way, is Dorothea. "How can you let Tantripp talk such gossip to you, Celia?" said Dorothea, indignantly, not the less angry because details asleep in her memory were now awakened to confirm the unwelcome revelation. I want to point that out. It's a great actual learning thing you can have here. Details asleep in her memory were now awakened to confirm the unwelcome revelation. That is a very insightful way of how our psychology works, where something is there in the back of our minds, we don't think about it, and then something outside of us, crashes into our reality, and we start to realize all that we've misunderstood. You must have asked her questions. It is degrading, Dorothea continues. Celia goes on and says, I see no harm at all in Tantrum's talking to me. It is better to hear what people say. You see what mistakes you make by taking up notions. I am quite sure that Sir James means to make you an offer, and he believes that you will accept him, especially since you have been so pleased with him about the plans of the cottages. And Uncle, too, I know he expects it. Everyone can see that Sir James is very much in love with you. The revulsion was so strong and painful in Dorothea's mind that tears welled up and flowed abundantly. All her dear plans were embittered, and she thought with disgust of Sir James's conceiving that she recognized him as her lover. There was vexation, too, on account of Celia. Now, with Middlemarch and many great English novels, we get to see the full and complete lives of various individuals. This is a scene where I, as a man, get to see the inner thoughts and workings of a young woman. And fellas, if you can't see the value of that, I can't help you. We get a complete picture of their inner life and their outer life. Many of us have been in Dorothea's position, desired by someone whom we do not desire. And many have been in the friend's position, desiring someone who does not desire us. Now, what is unique is witnessing in our own minds via words on a page the very realistic interiority of this young woman's mind. The rise and fall of the external factors that affect the mind, and what she does about it in action, along with everyone else's reactions, actions, and thoughts. We do not get this in modern literature. We do not get this in cinema. We do not get this in television. We do not get this in TikTok. We can only get this in great novels like Middlemarch by George Eliot. By experiencing all of this with Dorothea, in just the first few chapters, through beautiful prose, we now have in our minds a full experience of life that we can evaluate, judge, contemplate, enjoy, and learn from. To live your own life with an internally flourishing world and moral insights, read Middlemarch. And you could read Middlemarch with me at Troubadour.studio, where I run a book club called the Literary Canon Club, and we read through all the great works. We discuss together. I provide insights, help you through it, and it's designed to help you stay on track, stay motivated, keep reading, and I help fill in gaps that you might miss or things that are important, even with character studies, with understanding all who the characters are, that we get lost doing that. I get lost doing that all the time, so I provide character maps and things of that nature. So come on over to Troubadour.studio, check it out, and read this amazing novel.